There you go. All right. Most of the parsha, talks about the first Hashem. Hashem chose us. Hashem. Lios Olam Skula. It's Hashem Emartem. You've been chosen. You've been chosen. Right. And then after that is the Tochacha. All right. So we can understand that it's the good versus the bad. Being chosen and being God's favorite, right? But of course, on the other hand, if you're not going to be good and you're not going to appreciate that, you're going to suffer. What stands out and seems, not connected to the bulk of the parsha is the first two aliyahs. We talk about bikurim and maisras. Vidui maisras. What does that have to do with anything? Now, the bikurim and maisras seemingly, whereas we could find between the being chosen, mechad gisa, right, and the tocha midach gisa. We can look at it as upside and downside of being the chosen people, right? What's bikurim and vidui maisras? What is that? That seems to be not related, seemingly, to the rest of the inyanim in the parsha. Right. So regarding bikurim, so the Tanchuma says that Tzipa Moshe Rabbeinu Burach HaKodesh She'atida Beis HaMikdash Licharev Va'bikurim Libatel Amad V'tikam Lisol Shu Mitpalim Shalosh Pamim Bayom. Moshe Rabbeinu foresaw, right, that the Beis HaMikdash is destined to be destroyed, and that the bikurim therefore will not be brought. Now they don't bring bikurim because man is no bias. So he was metakim klais shadaven 3 times a day, every single day. Now yes, just parenthetically, b'mamar musgar, about that. No, so it comes out according to this medrash. You have to say this: the also metakim tefillas, but you don't have to daven 3 times a day. Moshe Rabbeinu's metakim, you have to daven 3 times a day. Right now, what are the which 3 which 3 times a day, and then what times? That's what the Anshikas Agdol came and made it more connected to korbanos. Right? But it's much already innovated the idea of davening 3 times a day. Could be that wasn't the zmanim. Well, that's what the Medrash says. Now, I'm not so concerned with fitting it. With the how it fits the Gemara. Right, Anshe Knesset Sagdola, gave us these tefillas, for what? That doesn't concern me. What really concerns me is that for bikurim that you bring once a year, albeit you have time from Shavuos and onwards, but actually whoever brings bikurim only brings bikurim once a year, right? Yeah, he has time to do it. If he doesn't do it on Shavuos, he still has until Sukkot. And he still has b'di'evet until Chanukah, but then he can't read, wherever the Mishnah say, But you got to bring it once a year, and because we don't have the once a year bikurim, we have to daven every single day, 3 times a day. It's not fair, right?
I think that people in Chutzlar say that about the second day of Yom Tov.
What?
Because we don't have the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, so we have to have another day of Yom Tov to get up to that level of Kedusha.
That's why I say, for the bikurim, because we don't have the bikurim that's once a year, it's daven 3 times a day. It's a pella. Now,
isn't the question? Isn't the essential part of the question what's the connection between bikurim and tefillah? Or
no, it's not saying it's muban. It's not just. But the Medrash says it's not just tefillah; it's 3 times a day.
Okay.
Now, again, of course, it's very good, like Shitas Rambam, that anyway you have a chiyuv d'oraisa to daven once a day. So that's, like the Rambam, it's, you can understand the Medrash better. But like the Ramban, it's difficult. Like the Ramban, you're not chayiv midoraisa to daven at all. Right, so we'd ask, according to Rambam anyway, you're chayiv to daven midoraisa, but Moshe Rabbeinu already was metakein 3 times a day. So like the Rambam for sure, the Ikar Shaila is, now he made it 3 times a day. Like the Ramban, it's like the whole Enochanami, the whole Ikar Tikkun of Tefillah already starts with Moshe Rabbeinu. It's like you say, like the Ramban, yes, so you have to ask what's the kesher between Tefillah and Bikurim. Like the Rambam, you have to daven anyway, right? You have to daven b'chol yom, but not at any specific time, right? So like the Rambam, it's more that now it has to be 3 times a day. 3 times a day, right? Now, what's recurrent, right, over and over and over again in the parsha is the word hayom. Shem emartem, hayom niyeta la'am, hayom, 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 and then it's over and over and over again in the parsha. And by each time, Rashi says the same drasha. You have to look as if today you were chosen.
How many times does he say?
I don't know, about 4 or 5 times.
Oh,
Yeah. Hayom. You have to do this. Today you came in the bris. Today, what is that? What does that mean? View it as if it happened today. All right, now the Gemara in Megillah.
What's fair about that?
I just want to know what it means.
As it is today.
Yes.
Because it's mechanical. If you wait, it's not as mechanical. So it takes the impact away.
That's what I was saying. As if today.
That day is the main impact, and you should keep that for.
All right, so we'll talk about that in a second. Now the Gemara Megillah, it's also it's a psikta. The Ezra Sefer was mitaken that we should read the tochacha of Bechukosai. Read the tochacha before Shavuos, which we do, and then read the tochacha of Savo prior to Rosh Hashanah. And it's a siman. Tichle Shana B'Choseh, the old year goes out with the close. Tachel Shana B'Choseh, let the new year begin with its brachas.
Which I doesn't have to show.
Oh, so we'll explain that in a second. That's what we have to explain. So we more understand, what has to do with Rosh Hashanah. Tichle Shana B'Choseh, Tachel Shana B'Choseh. By Shavuos, where it's not a new year, it's not so understood. But there's there's another problem. It never works out exactly. Chukosai is always 2 weeks before Shavuos, because we always read Parshas Bamidbar before Shavuos, and same thing with Rosh Hashanah. Kisavo is always 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is always after Parshas Nitzavim. Right, so it doesn't work out punct right before, right? But what's interesting to note is that there is a certain common denominator over here that needs to be, analyzed. So you have to read this tocha before Shavuos and this tocha before Rosh Hashanah, but Rosh Hashanah and Shavuos are actually bound up with each other. First of all, in this week's parsha itself, this is the parsha we're meant to read before Rosh Hashanah. The Pesachta says, right? What does this parsha open up with? Bikurim. When do you start bringing Bikurim? Shavuos. Bikurim. Right? So there's this crossover.
Isn't it called Hag HaBikurim?
Yeah.
Place in the Torah?
Yeah.
Actually given that name that day.
That's what it's called.
Right. Yom HaBikurim. Right. V'akriv mincha chadash Hashem b'shvuos sechem. Right. Right. But also, another place where we find these 2 days interwoven, so that there's something similar about them, and yet there's something different between them, as we're going to explain. Another place where we find them, crossover, is a famous pasuk, Vayerev Vayiboker Yom HaShishi. Yom HaShishi, by the 6th day of creation, Yom HaShishi Deheya Yediyah. So we have, Rashi in Chumash brings 2 different drushes. One is in the Gemara and Shabbos, one I don't know where its source is. That Al Manas that Yisrael will be Makabel, Al Tonight that Yisrael will be Makabel Chamisha Chumshei Torah, or HaShishi, the 6th day, it's Ramis to the 6th day of Sivan. So now, the 6th day of creation, what day was it? Rosh Hashanah. Yehi Or was on Chafei Elul. Right? And Yom HaShishi, the 6th day of creation, which is the day of Brias Adam Rishon, right? That was Rosh Hashanah, and that's a famous medrash, Kayadua, that just like Adam Rishon sinned and was judged and got pardoned on that day, so also on every year we are judged on this day and somewhat pardoned. Yotzim B'dimus, come out with goodwill. Now, so it's like these 2 days are sort of interlinked with each other. Right? And by both we have to read a Tocha beforehand, but there is a difference, right? In the Tochacha of Parshas Bechukosai, there are psukei nechama. Afghan zos be'eretz ba'avem l'masagal. There are psukim of to cheer us up, right? It's not going to be forever. It's not going to be, There are no psukim of nechama in the Tocha of Parshas Ki Savo.
It starts with bracha. The klal is a tochacha, right? So it starts with bracha. It's much shorter. I had a question about that. Mida Tov Meruba. Why is this so much klala? But
it's not nechama. The bracha is
no.
not nechama.
Well, I
Nechama is
don't know. You could maybe
after
use a
klal.
liberal definition of nechama in the sense that if you don't do this, you'll understand that not only will the cloud not come on you, but you'll actually have
Well, first of all, you have that before. First of all, you have Volachem Kamis. You have a few good. You have brachas before also, and you have Parshas. And then it's just at the end there are a few psukim about it's not going to be forever, and it's not going to be
It's in that aspect.
And in that there are no psukim like that at the end of the Tochacha, right? But you know how it ends off? Eile divrei habris asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. So the Zohar already asked the guy, divrei habris, right? Should be divrei gvura. These are the words of din. Divrei habris. So the Zohar gives a little bit of a cryptic answer that we'll explain, right? So Zohar says, well, Mishnah Torah Moshe mipi atzvamran. What Gemara Megillah pointing out the discrepancy that in one place, the heavens are like copper and the earth is like steel or iron, and in one place the other. So he say the Gemara says, Moshe mipi atzvamran. When Moshe Rabbeinu said this, he said in Aldat Atzmo. Aldat Atzmo. Right? Just then HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded him to write in the Sefer Torah. Right? So, whereas the Parashat Bechukosai was Mipi Gvura. So since it's Mipi Gvura, there needs to be Parashas Nechama. It's Mipi Gvura, then, so that's be Psukim of Nechama. This is Moshe Al Das Atzmo. That's why it's Divrei Abris. This is Pachot Oter, the Lashon of the Zohar. Right?
You mean, what's the kasha? Then why is it divrei abris? It should be divrei.
That's what I said. No, because it's not Divrei Gvura. It's not Moshe.
What do you mean divrei
Mipi
gvura? Divrei Hashem.
Yeah, Gvura as in din.
Gvura as in din.
Why is the Tocha called Divrei Abris? It's called Divrei Gvura. So I said no, because the Tocha in Bechukos has Mipi Gvura. Moshe Rabbeinu was just saying over what Hashem told him to say over. Also, it's Mipi Gvura din needs Nechama. This Moshe Rabbeinu at the time they said it, before he wrote in the Sefer Torah. He wrote in the Sefer Torah Al Pia Gvura to write it. But at the time that he said it Al Dad Atzmo, then the Hashem commanded him to write it. So since he said al dat atzmo, so it doesn't need, so it's divrei bris. Right?
So why? I'm saying it's still different gvura. Like what's
No, that's what I say. We'll explain, why it's not. So since al dat atzmo is not gvura, it's divrei bris. It's not coming, as it were, from midas hadin, as it were. Right? But we'll explain that. Right? We'll explain the Zohar. Right? To explain the difference between the two tochachos.
The Indian of bris is really din, no? Isn't that?
Well, bris means it's even above din. I mean, it's irrescindable. Din is, if it's the din, you could break the agreement. Because that bris is, bonded together. It's not, you can't rescind the bris. That's why our bris is bigger than a shvua. It could be heter shvua. There's no way to rescind the bris. Right. Now, to understand all this,
The Zohar says that Bechukaisai was B'Piyah Gvura.
That's right.
Why is the Zohar contrasting?
the Piagura as opposed to Moshe al Das Atzmo. So it's so Bechukos has to be Piagvura, so it's Gvura needs Nechama.
The Zohar says this. That
Yeah. And whereas Torah, there's a Torah Moshe al Pi Atzmo Amra, which is a Gemara also in Megillah. So it's Pi Atzmo, so it doesn't need the Nechamas. Now we'll have to Okay, then like this, right? The Bria is a lot more multi-dimensional than what the eye can see. If it's mitzad the Bria, if it's mitzad the Adam also, that's like a mini world. Kayadua. Right. So this is a Gemara in Brachas. That it says the 5 Borchi Nafshis. So Lo Amron David El Keneged HaKadosh V'Keneged HaNeshama. So amongst the many things that the 5 things that are there, so there's 2 things that seemingly are a contradiction. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu Molei V'Zanes Kol HaKol HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills the whole world and supports it. So also the neshama is molei v'zones haguf. It fills and sustains the body. Right? The neshama keeps the body alive. HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps the world alive, but also he fills it and keeps it alive. Right? But it's also ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu yoshev b'chadrei chadorim. For neshama yoshev b'chadrei chadorim. Hashem sits in a room within a room. Right? So also, the neshama sits in a room within a room. So as one place says it fills up the whole world, fills up and supports the whole world. Another place you say, in a room within a room. Right? Mm-hmm. But it is like this, multi-dimensional. Of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, right? Right, but there are certain dimensions, and that's what the Chazal alluding to, b'chadrei chadorim, right? There's certain inner dimensions that are special, special madrega. Physical reality is not there, right? Right. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, fills all the dimensions, including the physical reality, but he also has special dimensions, special inner dimensions where physical reality is Physical reality is not a part of those dimensions. Or let's put it like this. It's all right. It's called it's dimensions, right? It's a part of physical reality, but physical reality is not a part of it, right? Physical reality exists in 3 dimensions, right? Right. Now, as we're about to explain, there are probably many more dimensions to any given thing. We just can't see those dimensions. But those added dimensions that there could be in every zach are not physical dimensions. There is the spiritual dimensions of the zach, right? So, and that those dimensions are called chadrei chadorim, right? Inner chambers, right? Inner chambers. It's a special madrega unto its own. So now, when we say that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, or vice versa, not vice versa, or similarly, the neshama is mole v'zon, it permeates the physical reality and is mazin the physical reality. So of course that means that Hakadosh Baruch Hu interfaces with the physical reality and sustains it k'fi ma shehu. Sustains it on its own level. Right? We have a Ribon Shalom that's supernatural, right? But the world runs naturally because he sustains the world k'fi ma shehu. So he permeates physical reality and he's mitchaber to the physical reality k'fi ma shehu. But then there's these chadrei chadorim, which are these madregas, which are above physical reality, right? Special madregas, right? And the neshama also. The neshama is supernatural, and yet and it gives chaim to a guf, and the guf is not supernatural. You can't fly, you have no superpowers, and you have to pay taxes like everyone else, right? Even though the chiyus comes from a supernatural neshama. Because how the neshama is mimale v'zon es haguf, when it permeates the physical dimensions, so it's mitchaber to the physical dimensions on their scale, not more. That's why the guf, which gets chayim from a supernatural neshama, still runs naturally. Right, but the neshama has, its special madregas that are way above the guf. Now there's a big cloud to understand kama v'kama inyonim from the way the world works and that hooray, everything needs the Rebbe to support it, right? Everything.
Yes.
There's no exception to this rule. Even the kochos hara, even the sitra achra. Everything is nivra by a Hakadosh Baruch Hu, needs a Hakadosh Baruch Hu to support it. Right. Does that therefore mean that everything is holy?
I mean, the Tanya talks a lot about this
okay.
aspect of things.
Okay, so
there has to be something.
Okay, so now we're giving our own, a slightly different shita, the gachrais that okay. Umalchuso bakol mashal. We spoke about this many times that pasuk refers to Adu Baruch as moshel over the ra. He's not a melech over the ra because the ra doesn't choose to serve, but he's moshel. But because malchuso bakol mashal, because everything is sustained by him, right? Everything is sustained by him. It doesn't mean that therefore everything is holy. Right? because the Ribbon Shalom is, sustains things lefi what they are on their scale. And just because the chiyus is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sharing with it His holiness. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Mimale Vizan, but He's Mimale Vizan everything kfi mashehu. Right? It doesn't mean that the Kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. That Kedusha may stay. His special madrega of Kedusha is B'chadrei Chadorim, inner chamber. So he's Mekayim the Nivra Kefi Ma Shehu. Right? V'lo yoter mizeh. As it were, the Ra, as it were, gets like a residual effect of the Ribbon Shalom's Kedusha, but not the Atzmus HaKedusha. The Atzmus HaKedusha will remain B'chadrei Chadorim. Right? Not sharing Etzem Kedushasai. Right? Right? The Ra is getting the residual effect, the Mekubal called the Achorayim. The Achorayim. What's thrown behind the back, as opposed the Achor as opposed to the Ponim. Right? And that's why, even though everything's sustained by Koshel, doesn't mean everything's Kaddish, doesn't mean everything's Toiv. No, but since ultimately everything will be subservient to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will is always done. Right? He's Moshel. But it doesn't mean that all these Rishayim and all these Ra are therefore Tov. They can't do anything but His Ratzon, but it doesn't make them Tov, right? Because even though they're, because they get their chiyas from him, they can't do anything against His will, but the chiyas that they get from Him is Kfi Mashahem. They are not therefore Tov. They may be therefore dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore kafuf to His Ratzon, doesn't make them Tov.
Is there anybody that holds that they're Tov? That they get?
I know some people that get mixed up about that, get mixed up on this point, right? So now a Russia, right? A Russia, similarly. Rishayim afil b'chayim kriyim mesim. Right? Even when they're alive, they're called dead. Now, what does that mean? Some Rishayim are in great shape. Their cholesterol levels are even lower than mine. Right? That's not saying much. But right, so what do you mean? B'chayim kriyim mesim. Right? So the pshat is the real Chaim is Dveikus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'atem madveikim b'Hashem Elokechem Chaim kulchem hayom. Get it? Hayom. We're going to get back to that soon. Hayom. Chaim kulchem hayom. Right? But let's before we get to the hayom part, right? But Dveikus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called the real Chaim because the real Chaim that is not shaykh to misa klal u'klal. The real life because it's unkillable, undiable, right? It's the Ribbon Shalom, and to have real life is mikoach to connect to Him. He is Elokim Chaim, and Atem Adveikus Chaim Kulchem Hayom. The Russia doesn't have that dveikus. Right? But the Russia has a neshama. The Russia has a neshama also. And the neshama is called Chelak Elokam Imal. It's called that not because it's a piece of God, but because it connects to Hashem. That's why it's called Chelak Elokam Imal. He has a neshama, right? It's a yid. Fine. He has a neshama, but he has no connection to his neshama. But when I ask, he has no connection to his neshama, so how is he alive? The neshama is memala v'zan kol haguf. The yid is like this. Because the neshama will keep his body alive kedei b'tzimtzum, just to keep biological functions going. But the etzem madrega of the neshama, the aspect of the neshama that's yoshed b'chadrei chadorim, the Russia has no shaykhs to that. Right, so the Russia's, he has a neshama, right? But the neshama is just going to be mamala v'zon the guf kafi mashahu guf, on guf level, right? He doesn't have the etzem special koach of the neshama. The Russia has no shaychus to that etzem koach of the neshama. That's domet hakadosh yoshev b'chadrei chador, and therefore the neshama is dovik in hakadosh chelak u'chayma. The Russia has no shaychus that his neshama just gives him chiyus kedei biological life and not more. And that's called dead, because that's biological life. Biological life, is just a time bomb, waiting just to die.
What's this Indian of not being dovuk to your neshama?
The neshama is sitting in the inner chamber, as despite the fact that it's molei v'zon kol haguf, meaning how it's molei v'zon kol haguf is kfi mashahu guf. It's special madregas b'chadrei chadorim. So by the Russia, that's mamish the case, that the neshama's special powers are mamish, in b'chadrei chadorim and not share with the guf. How it's molei v'zon kol haguf is kafi mashahu guf, lefi the kalim of the guf and not more. So it's a very interesting lashon Rambam in the Pirush HaMishnayos in his Hakdama de Chelek, where he talks about Tchias HaMesim. This is before the Yud Gimel Ikrim. He's mentioned some of the Ikrim before he gets to the Yud Gimel Ikrim, and he talks about Tchias HaMesim, and it's just with tzaddikim. It's only for tzaddikim. Ve'ech yakumu harishayim harei afilu b'chayayim hamesim. It's a simple kavachomer. If a Rasha is dead even in his lifetime, right? Kavachomer, when he's dead, he can't come back to life. What's the Rambam? No, the Rambam's not saying poetry. It's mamish that way. The dynamic of Tchias HaMesim, that tzaddikim afilu b'misasam kruyim chayim, is that the tzaddik was zoche, that his body absorbed some of the etzem koach haneshama, and because the body absorbed that power, so even when the body's dead, it's alive because it absorbed the koach of the nishmas chayim. So afilu b'misasam kruyim chayim, and that's what ensures that they'll have tchias hamesim. Because the koach of the neshama that's called nishmas chayim, the special madrega of the neshama is called nishmas chayim. That special madrega sits b'chadrei chadorim. The tzaddik was zoche to make contact with that level, and that's why b'misasam kruyim chayim. But that's also what ensures tchias hamesim, because the guf absorbed some of the power of the etzem haneshama. Not what the neshama gives the guf on its own level, but absorbed from the neshama power. The Russia didn't have that. That's why even b'chayim is kori mesim. That's why kal v'chomer can't get up by tchias hamesim, because he has no kesher to the aspect of nishmas chayim, which is yoshev b'chadrei chadorim. The tzaddik was zocher that the koach of nishmas chayim, that's yoshev b'chadrei chadorim, his guf got exposed to that. His guf got exposed to the etzem koach haneshama. And that's why even when he's dead, he's called alive, because there's koach of neshama in the guf, and that's why he gets up by tchias hamesim also.
What's this Indian of guf? What are we talking about? Guf, or we're talking about?
What other guf are we talking about?
I don't know. Halukah Drabanan, something.
What? No, Halukah Drabanan's a ruchni thing. That's. Halukah Drabanan is the bush that's made out of mitzvahs.
Isn't that what we're talking about? Isn't that what we're talking about? That's going to be makabel hash, meaning when we're saying that Russia is not connected to his neshama.
Right.
So what are we talking about? His mind. We're not talking about.
No, it's guf. The guf doesn't get hashpa from the etzem neshama. It only gets from his neshama enough to keep the biological function going.
It doesn't. Rabbi told me it's machlokes Rambam and Ramchal or something about that. The guf is going to be kayim lafilava.
if in Olam Haba there's a
And
good.
Olam Haba is good.
Right, but Ram's mother, everyone's mother is Tchias HaMesim.
Oh, he's
Question is,
Tchias
after
HaMesim,
that,
yes, good.
Tchias HaMesim, the body comes back to life, right? Because how does the body come back to life from the dead? Well, because it absorbed koch from the Nishmas Chaim, right? Right, so that's what the Ram is saying. He wasn't saying, if the B'chaim, the Kuri Mason, Kabbalah can't get by Tchias HaMesim. He wasn't saying empty, stam poetry. And Ram is not poetic, He's saying that something is a kacha. For the very same reason, they're called Mason, even B'chayim, it's the same explanation why they cannot have Tchias HaMesim. Right? They have
Is the
no,
Rambam
they have,
in
there's a Rambam in the personalized Hakam L'Chela. It's really what the Rambam's saying. It reads as poetry, but it's not poetry. If they're B'chayim, Kurimei, Kavachomar, it's a real Kavachomar. Now, Lamasa, the Torah spoke about this duality very, very openly in Lagabe, the Inyan of Parnasa and the Inyan of the Mon. Explain the Inyan of the Mon. I should explain also why Klai, so we're never comfortable with the Mon. Then Monday you didn't know. What do you mean you didn't know? They had it for 40 years, right? Right. Shabbos, they had no tfisa in the man, because the man was ruchani. The man was ruchani, and that's what the pasuk goes on. The pasuk says something that's nishsum zach. The pasuk goes on and says, "V'achel b'ashoyda v'lo yadun altecha." Okay, l'man teda ki lo al lechem levado yichya adam ki al kol motza pi Hashem yichya adam. That you should know, and you should realize that man does not live by bread alone, but he lives by the motza pi Hashem. What was it? The pasuk. He gave his fudge to Monday, he didn't know. That you should know, ki lo lechem levado yichya adam ki al kol motza pi Hashem yichya adam. Right? Right? Because it is like this. The man was pure ruchnius. Lechem abirim, kivyachol, even angels could eat it, as it were. Like the Ramban talks about it. It was mamish, as it were, condensed ruchnius.
It was Gashmi.
It was gashmi, but not not gashmi like bread. Right? And that's why it was nivla bei vorim, and they didn't have to go to the bathroom. You understand that, over there, Mon, there was...
How's it changed that it was Geshem? How was it changed that it was...
No, just because it became sort of like the dynamic of how Malachim, when they come down here, they take on a guf. So parallel to that, when that shefa came out, it was mitlabesh and a levush. But it was not a levush as we know, because it could taste like whatever you wanted, and you didn't have to excrete, it was totally absorbed. But over there you had an interesting thing, because it was so ruchni, as it were, you didn't get the proper body satisfaction you're supposed to get from it. Over there, you had the situation with the man was as such, since it was more ruchni than gashmi. That, the Yitzhar didn't get his satisfaction.
Even people that were Baal Madrega
Right,
didn't feel.
Well, look, when Am Yisrael complained, I'm sure it wasn't all of them.
Right.
Whenever you complain, but Am Yisrael's never comfortable with the money. It was unbelievable. It tastes like whatever you want. No, because since it was ruchni, the Yitzhar didn't get no satisfaction. Right, the physical side of man wasn't satisfied. That's it. Lo yadu, you didn't understand the man. Kleisel was very uncomfortable with the man because they couldn't understand it. It was lamala from tfisa. And lamala from tfisa means you don't get no physical satisfaction from it. Right? But now you understand the continuation of the pasuk. So lo yadu, I didn't know the man, even though you were familiar with it because you ate it for 40 years, but still you didn't have yediyah in it. Right? Right? Physical intelligence could not chop it. And so it's dumb to what the Gemara says, that a blind man doesn't, or if you eat in the dark, you don't enjoy your food. You have to understand your food to really enjoy it. Right? Right? As this was Lamal from Tfisa, and Ribosh says, you know what, because I wanted to teach you something. That was the Pasuk. Ki lo alechem levarichem ki al-mokom motzav Hashem yechei adam. The ikar chiyus is not the calories, even by whole wheat. Right? The ikar chiyus is not the calories. Right? The ikar chiyus is the motzav Hashem, the shefa Eloki. That dimension of it is the ikar chiyus. Besod v'atem adbekim Hashem chayim kulchem hayom. Right? That's what's brought down in the Ari. That whatever when you eat food, there's the levush gashmi of the food, which is the calories, and then there's the moitza pi Hashem that's in the food, and then the guf gets strong from the levush, the neshama gets strong from the moitza pi Hashem. You're only going to access the moitza pi Hashem if you eat it l'shem shamayim, and not out of taiva. Yeah, this has to do with what we talk about raising the sparks, halas and itzotzes, to get to the moitza pi Hashem. So now, there's two nekudas over here, right? First of all, nekuda, going back on the issue of the Rishoyim, right? So this is metaretz, an unbelievable kasha that the leshem is mefalpul with, right? And we're not saying against the leshem, but we're just being moisef on what he says, right? Right. The inyan of Tchias HaMesim is that all the shefa that there ever was comes back. Right? To show that nothing ever got wasted. Right? Nothing got wasted, nothing got lost. But what about all these Rishoyim that aren't Zocher?
That's the inyan of Tchias HaMesim.
That's why he says one of Yud Gimel Ikrim, because it shows that the Rebbe never did a davar levatala. To believe in his omnipotence, never did a davar levatala. So in the world of the Tchiyah, every shefa that there ever was comes back.
Who
So
says
this is the lesson, right? But the lesson is bothered, and he doesn't, and he doesn't really speak out, right? But the Rishonim already don't come back. So you have all the shefa that got wasted on the Russia, the food that he ate, and whatever, and the money that he had, and all the shefa that went at his disposal, that got wasted. But like our mahalach, the Russia never got the shefa. That which the Russia enjoyed, the taste of the food, right? Right, the taste of the food, or how the money sealed up his chov in the makolet or whatever, right? But he never got the etzem shefa, like mamish parallel to his own personal situation. He never had the essence of his neshama. He just had how his neshama kept his body going, and that's not called really having a neshama, because the whole keta of having a neshama is not for the purpose of biological life. It's to have this devekus belokim chaim, have a nishmas chaim, to have devekus belokim chaim, and he never had that. It's also everything that happened throughout his whole life, right? He always only accessed the chitzonius and the achorayim. The etzem shefa he never had. So really, nothing was ever wasted. And that shefa will indeed come back. The Russian never absorbed the etzem shefa. He just, the residual physical benefit is what he enjoyed. But the etzem zach he never enjoyed. The motza pi Hashem he never had. He had the lechem without the motza pi Hashem. And the motza pi Hashem is the ikar zach. He never had it. So as it were, the shefa was never lost. It never went to the wrong place. He never had it. He always enjoyed just the external layer of it. The etzem zach he never had. Which is why his life was so empty. Missing the etzem tochen hadover.
That higher level shefa was actually sent into the world by Hashem, and it depends on the person's bechira whether, right, this Russia, for example, each time he chooses not to make a veil of it. So what happens?
So as word of shefa is,
it's just sitting in limbo somewhere.
It's
I know
in
that's
limbo.
Hashem shefa with the rabbis going to speak about a little bit, but
Yeah.
just to
Right.
It does come down into this world. It's not like Hashem foresees that He's not going to take advantage of it, so He leaves it not brought down into this world. It is brought down into this world.
It's brought as well, but it's not. It will have to be accessed by someone else. Right? He didn't get it. It's going to be. That's what Chazal no tochelko v'chelek chavero began Eden. It was meant for him. Someone else is going to pick it up. But one thing it didn't get lost on the Russia. It didn't get lost on Russia. It's not going to go into oblivion together with the Russia because Russia just wasted himself. The Etzem Shefa he never had.
Yichya Adam, we're not talking about physical.
That's right. I'm talking about the real life.
Talking about
The real life, and that's what the Rebbe wanted to teach with the man. Ikra Chiyus is the Ruchnius. And Beretz he gave them the man to teach them that. That's the real life. But the Yitzhar and the man never got satisfaction from that.
You're saying that
so that's why the Asaf Suf Ba'am, there's the lower people in the Am that didn't get no satisfaction from the man. Right? Because they wanted bodily pleasure, they wanted physical pleasure.
And why couldn't that be directly taught by whatever ruchnius the katanu that they would have when they're Mekayim mitzvahs? Why wouldn't there be like an automatic, being drawn towards that ruchnius by? Why do you need that? It's a strange thing. It's lo lechem. So I'm going to create a ruchniistic version of the lechem to teach you that lesson.
That the Motza Pi Hashem is the Kochias.
And why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't he do it more directly? Why wouldn't it be something just person does the mitzvah Hashem? There isn't anything else. Like people talk about tzaddikim in our days, they're so drawn to the ruchnius and the mitzvahs that they don't have any interest in the gashmis. Why does Hashem have to teach it this way? I don't know if it's such a shot, but I'm just saying they were dor deya. Seemingly they would get the message if it would have been sent in a more ruchniistic way.
Oh, look, but anyway.
And how was amazing them?
What?
How did it physically amazing them? How did it?
I understand.
How they live off it?
No, that's right. So it was mikoch. The ruchni was mechalkel the gashmi, and not in this just enabling the biological autork. It was mamish. Ruchnius was supporting gashmis its way, its own unique way in a certain way. Moshe was on a higher level. After Shema, you didn't even need the mun, right? But as the mun worked in a bottom line is, the FDA could not tell you, a table nutritional value of the mun. Some of the potassium and calories, right? Right? You cannot write, a table of nutritional value on the mun. Right? So now it's then also something about, something that has to do with Rosh Hashanah. We're going to get back to this in a minute. Right, in greater depth, but just, there's Parnasa and there's Parnasa. People when we ask, we want Parnasa from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we daven. So it's not the pshat, only that we're afraid we won't be able to pay our bills. Right? But perhaps wanting Parnasa from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is wanting Parnasa that is full. It's not just Gashmi, but it's Ruchni also. That the Parnasa is, Parnasa not just of the guf, but of the nefesh also. Or in other words, that this Parnasa is an expression of Kesher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like the Yonah doesn't want, says, I want it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Physical wealth, that's only physical wealth, netto, and there's nothing more to it. Right? You could get that by being written in the Sifrei Mason on Rosh Hashanah. Because you're written in the Sifrei Mason, you get a lot of wealth, like the pasuk says, "Umasham Rosh Hapanav La'avido." They shouldn't do tshuva. That your Rebbe is throwing you this, wealth. That you should have a kesher with it, right? Whereas sometimes the Kodesh Hu makes your parasa b'tzimtzum to increase the kesher with him. The end of being nechtam lechayim, and then we say b'sefer chayim brach v'shalom parnasa tova gzeros tovas, like we say, but that parnasa tova is multi-dimensional. Parnasa tova, not just a shot. It's good because it pays your bills, right? But it is multi-dimensional. This parnasa is kesher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'mlo muvan amila. There's motza pi Hashem in this parnasa. This parnasa is indicative that just like you're living in this world, so also you'll live in the next world. As opposed to the empty parnasa, there's the Mittler Rebbe and the Derech Chaim, it says, it's shaykh to draw down shefa to pay your bills from rikiyei shav v'sheker, from the dimensions of sheker. So I once said it over in the shir, says, right? It pays my bills.
That's the problem.
No, but I'm saying, but paying your bills is shav v'sheker. It's not a real reality. Paying your bills, paying your bills, let me buy an olam haba. There's not going to be any zecher to that, right? But paying your bills can become all of a sudden irrelevant to olam hazeh once Iran gets the big one, right? The whole economy that we know it and every life as we know it will become irrelevant, right? Paying your bills in the makol is a very imaginary reality, Right? But there's another two nakudas here. I'm tightening the screw, I know. Right, there's another two nakudas over here, which are right. To really have something, to really have a kinyan in something, right? To really have it, kinyan gomer. Right? To really have it is to have it with the shefa, right? If you just have enjoyed a chitzon without the shefa, you don't really have it, because its spiritual essence you have no shaykhs to. So you never really kinda the davar b'shorsho. You enjoyed it. You had a certain physical pleasure from it. You never really had it. If you get it with the shefa, it's called to really have it. But as a function of that is also how quickly you get bored with it. How quickly you get bored with it. All right. If you only have its physical side and not its essence, so its physical side, physicality gets old very quick, gets boring very quick. You just have the stimulation that it caused you, v'suloi. So the stimulation is powerful the first one. After that, been there, done that, and it starts losing, right? That which physicality is under tachat hazman, it's under time. The time just makes things old and boring, old and fall apart. That's if you only have the physical side of it. That's why Russia's life is so empty. He's always running, needs more stimulation. He's so unhappy, with what he has. He always needs something else and something more. Because in everything that he has, he doesn't have real time in it. He only has the chitzonius of it. He doesn't have the motza pi Hashem that's in it.
I mean, even the one who has motza pi Hashem, he's constantly running after Yitzchadshus and the motza pi Hashem. It's not. He also is running after more and more and more. But right, we're also very much into Yitzchadshus and in Ruchnius also.
But
you're just saying in Metzias, right, when you're going after something physical, since the Metzias, it's tachas hazman, as the Rav is saying, so it has its limitations, and therefore you have to run to the next thing.
No, that a person should want more in Ruchnius, but everything that's Ruchni is a full experience. and that's the Ezu Osher Samech B'Chok. Be Samech B'Chokacha. If you get the davar b'atzmusay, you get the essence of it, you get the Dvar Hashem in it, and the Dvar HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't get old. So if you have the Dvar Hashem that's in it, it feels always fresh. You don't get bored with it. You can really be Samech B'Chalkacha. Right?
So how do you explain these people who seemingly like athletes or whatever? They're just forever, they're in love with a certain sport and hitting a ball a certain way or doing a certain thing. They don't really get tired of it. Seemingly, there's people who. I mean, you used to say they're stupid. I don't know.
What's that going to be in that? They're so behemish that.
What's their thrill of
No, but I'm sure as far as their food and their women, they're always changing things.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, but they do seem to have.
They have their
feeling
obsessions.
They
have their certain obsessions.
But it seems that the Rav is describing spiritual as a Jewish Torah definition of spiritual. I'm just wondering, a person who's involved in research, whatever it is, in biology, chemistry, whatever. Now, he seems to be on the right track in the sense that he's not getting sick of what it is that he did. It's just that what he did is leading him into a new dimension, right? He's not doing it because he's sick of it.
I'll tell you like this. I can't explain how he remains interested in what he does, but I do know that other people will get bored with him. Mm-hmm. Right? What he might find, for some reason, fascination, unceasing fascination. But I'm sure his students won't want to take his course a second time, and he could easily become passé.
No, I'm talking about people who are into research. I don't know. We should bring Coleman in and ask him. I think he's involved in this a little bit. But just seems to me there's some kind of a parallel in the secular world to this feeling. I mean, it's not Torah, but people getting a tanu constantly from researching the Ein Sof of this world and seeing all new things in the Bria. Yeah, but it's not the Torah's level of
yes. Yep. So it comes like this: to have a real kinyan and a real satisfaction and a real unceasing joy, and also, in other words, to be really alive and to feel chayim in everything that you do. All right, so you have to take something with its spiritual dimensions, with those aspects that are b'chadrei chadorim. And then there'll be chiyus, right? Chiyus and tanug, and a certain aspect of nitzchius in whatever you do and in whatever you've touched and experienced. And in Zman that's called Hayom. 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 Right. When we say Kilu Hayom Nitztavisa, Kilu Hayom Basa Babris, right? That shouldn't be a physical experience. A physical experience goes into the past. A Ruchni experience is not Tachat Azman, so it's always in the present. It's always in the present. It's always fresh. The Zman takes things from the present and makes them the past. Makes it a has-been. Makes it a has-been. Makes it a been there, done that. A Ruchni experience is perpetually in the present. The chiluk of over hoive and osid doesn't exist. It's perpetually fresh. It's perpetually, it's unchanging. It doesn't lessen. It doesn't get old. It doesn't get boring. We need that our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be one that's hayom. It will be perpetually in the present and never be a has-been, never go into the past if it's a real dveikus, because then it's not physical. But if it's like just like Stam, like we passed the law, Torah will be like passing a law. All right, so the first minute that you're mitzvah and it's interesting, and then after that, it's a convention, right? It has to be that the bris with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and being chosen is not a historical event that was. It has to be hayom, always perpetually in the present, lamala min azman, and it's that way if it's a genuine spiritual experience and you're accessing the spiritual dimensions of it, not just hearing the physical side of it. That was, yeah, we were commanded. Yeah, we were chosen. And that'll be a historical event. It's an event. It's a spiritual event, and a spiritual event is perpetually in the Hoiveh. A physical event goes into the past. A spiritual event is perpetually Hayom. And that's if you're Dveikim Ba'Hashem Elokechem, then Chaim, it's all full of Chiyus, and it's Hayom. And it's perpetually in the present. And that's right. And that's what the Torah wants from you. It's a Hayom, 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 Hayom. Right? Now we have something by Torah also. And we spoke about this. That Matan Torah is not about being commanded. Matan Torah is that you both want to give the etzem or HaTorah. So now with this we've hit the commonality. Besides the fact that Shavuos and Rosh Hashanah are sort of intertwined in a halachic relationship of Maisa and Tanai. Because Bria Sa'olam, in Rosh Hashanah, and Rita is Al Tanai, that we're Makabel the Torah, so they're intertwined, like one is the Maisa, one is the Tanai, but there's also that Matan Torah is that Rebbe Shem wants us to get the Etzem or HaTorah, like we spoke about in our Shiurim on Yisro and Mishpatim, right? It doesn't want it to be that we get laws, but we get the etzem or HaTorah, and that's why b'chol yu b'necha kechadoshim. But by Rosh Hashanah, the demands are even higher. You have to be inscribed in the book of life. The demands are parallel but higher. You understand? It's not just, you have to make it into the Sefer HaChaim. It means you have to start, you have to feel these, mamash feel. So nafkamina is like this. By Torah, it's enough to believe. By Torah, it's enough to believe that there's more to Torah than the black and white. There's these tavis or mamish, are a levush for Shefa Eloki. It's enough for it to be Mekabel Torah, to believe that what I got is more than what I can see. You have to appreciate the Torah. And it's enough to appreciate it, on faith alone. Right? Whereas on Rosh Hashanah, you have to be inscribed in the book of life. You got to make it in. The expectations are higher. Hello? Bavei Knesset, Od Reva Shah. All right. So now, the common denominator between Tochacha and Tochacha, before we get into the difference, the common denominator between the two Tochachas, Tochacha in general, is that pain, right, is the only language the body understands when there's something bigger than the body around. I mean, we're saying it's above the guf's ability to be typhus, right? So you can't say that the guf will be aware of it mikoach pleasure, because the pleasure is a very acquired taste that's beyond the guf's ability to taste. Well, pain, however, right? That the guf will be bitzar because it's bigger than it. That the guf could understand and come to the realization that it's going to have to reevaluate. It's what, like the Gemara says in Brachas, Gimel matanas tovs nataras v'lisov v'kulam lo natnam ella ayidei yisurin. The matanas tovs Rebbe Shem had to give through yisurin. Torah, Olam Haba, and Eretz Yisrael. These are matanas tovs. It means they're above the guf's ability to appreciate. So the guf can't have a kesher to them mitzad oineg, because it's on a frequency that the guf can't see and hear and taste, right? So the way to, as it were, make the body aware of it and make the body readjust itself to, be makabel is through pain. Initially the pain because the guf can't get along with it, but the pain causes you to reevaluate, or whether it's through. People only make changes in their life when they go through a crisis. Pain is what causes you to reevaluate, but also pain has this good that pushes the koach hachomri down, and maybe you become more ruchani. So the matanas tovas that are above the yicholos of the guf to appreciate can only come through yisurin. Without the yisurin, you'd be oblivious to it. The yisurin force you to reevaluate. The yisurin, as it were, push down the chomris that block you from seeing it, and then you could come to appreciate it. So prior to Matan Torah, where we're getting we're getting the Torah's Chaim, so we need to have the tochacha to open our eyes. And it's not something that happens right before Shavuos. It's a process. We need our eyes open, that we should, be meichen already more than just a day before. So that's why we read it 2 weeks before. We have to have a change in attitude, to properly prepare. Right? So we need it before Torah, because we don't want to look at Torah as black and white. We want to look at Torah as or of Kedusha, or Achaim. Right? So you need the tochacha to wake us up, and make us reevaluate, because that's the only language that the guf understands, right? Right, and same thing before Rosh Hashanah, where we have to be nechtam l'chaim, the real chaim. All right, but there is still a difference. By Torah, it's enough to take it on faith that the Torah is more than what we can see. But when you're talking about you being zochel l'chaim, that doesn't go. You have to make it. So I have to appreciate that the Torah is more than what I could see. I could take that on faith, and that's good enough to take the Torah seriously. But by Rosh Hashanah, the demands are higher. You have to make contact with the chaim. You have to be nechtam l'chaim. You have to make it. And that's really the higher madrega that we see in this week's parsha, which we don't see, right? Which we don't see in the tochacha and parshas Bechukosai. V'asarach Hashem ein leiv ladat einayim v'soshma ad hayom hazeh. Hayom hazeh, the Rash says, I know you're chafetzim udveikim b'makom. You have a real cheshek in guf. Einaimos, even your physical eyes see, even your physical ears hear, even your leiv is yodea. That mamash, the guf has been conditioned to be sensitive to ruchnius. That there's even in guf, not just the neshama yearns for Dvar Hashem, but the guf is totally oblivious. Einayim lirosas, naishol lev ladas. Even the klei aguf are sensitive to this. Even the klei aguf are sensitive to this, and that's what the Zohar says, right? That tochad Mishnah Torah Moshe pi atzmo amra al das atzmo amra. That there's das over here, right? Parshas Bechukosai, which is mipi agvura, it's on faith. Hashem is dictating to us, and we accept it. And because we have not, internalized and reconciled it, that's why we also need psukim of nechama, because the tocha is not it's a metzius, but it's not reconciled, right? But Mishnah Torah, which is Moshe Rabbeinu al das atzmo, and he represents the das of Christ. So we have das over here, and Mela, the nafka is that we don't even need nechama. We understand how this is for our good, right? That's why it's divrei abris. We could feel how this is all for our own good. The tochacha, it's divrei abris. So that Ribosh is because He loves us. We have a naim lirosas, naim lishma, leiv ladas. It's not on faith. The guf really feels this way. And that's the Mandrei Moshe Rabbeinu al das atzmom. It wasn't a dictated fact. It's a fact that Moshe Rabbeinu was Yodea by himself, and it has hashpah and Klal Yisrael, that they're Yodea. They have, even the guf is Yodea. And that's why no psukei nechama are necessary. And that's the higher Madriga we have to reach on Rosh Hashanah, because you have to make it in. It's not that you have to believe that there's more. You have to be that more. So the Torah gave an eitzah for this. That's Bikurim and Maisrus. How do I know that a person zochet to be toim tam chaim, which also means to have a real kinyan in it, that he got the thing, bats musai.
I'm sorry, what's the Rav coming to explain now?
I do something which I should have explained earlier, right? But I forgot to get back to it. The eitzah of a person living a life that's kulo chaim, that he tastes the tam hachaim and everything. He tastes those chadrei chadorim, right? The eitzah for that is bikurim, first and foremost, and also maisrus. Giving away maisrus. The biggest geschmack that you get from something is, the physical geschmack is the first time. That's why we only make a shechianu when it's new. After, if you had it already, you don't make shechianu because now it's not misameach anymore, right? The fact that you take that newness and you give it back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and saying, Ribosh Hashem, I acknowledge I got it from you, that shows that you are aware of the ruchni dimension of it. And giving back, instead of taking it for yourself, by taking it for yourself, you make it gashmi. By giving it back to the Ribono Shel Olam, you leave it as ruchni, and you're saying, Ribono Shel Olam, I want to eat out of your hand. Which means that a person's aware that of its ruchnius, and that gives him a kinyan gomur, since you see that he's aware of the ruchni aspect of it. All right, that the most physical shmak, he didn't take it for himself, he gave it back to the Ribono Shel Olam. He associated with the Ribono Shel Olam. That means he's aware of the ruchni side of it, the cognizance that it comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not just saying it in the mouth, but living it by giving it back, is what makes it, proves, it's a siman ladavar, right? And Ribono Shel Olam, B'dach Shalom Rotzach Malichin also, right? Ribono Shel Olam will help him, that he will always feel how it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He'll always feel the Motzei Pi Hashem in everything. So that bikurim, giving back that bikurim, or giving away your maisrus that you work so hard for, right? Because it all comes from Hashem, and that's why you give it away, right? that in itself, right? That in itself gives you a kinyan in what you left for yourself. Gives you a kinyan that it shows that you're sensitive. That comes from HaKadosh. That means that on what you left for yourself, you're going to be toyim the tam achayim in whatever else you have left for yourself. You're toyim the motza pi Hashem in it. And even though the Bikurim was once a year, it had hashpah on a person for the whole year. That since the rachis, which the guf most enjoys, he gives back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it means this person is sensitive to the nekudah that all comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he elevated his physical geshmak, right, to be associated with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what makes it that he's toyim the tam achayim in everything else that he does.
It's a school
well, being maknet back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right. So Mida Knei HaKadosh Hu is maknet to you, ba'omek, not just the physical side, but with all the shefa. You're maknet to him back, your biggest geschmack, so he gives you, whatever he gave you, in a multi-dimensional way. Hello? What, I have to take Yossi back? Okay, fine, I'm coming back soon. Right. Right. Oh, because that's what it does. The school of Bikurim was that, the biggest physical geschmack, you elevate it to give it back to the Ribbon Shalom. Right? So, connected that, Mika, Negamida, Ribbon Shalom, whatever you're expected to keep for yourself, he's maknet to you with its full intensity. You get all the multi-dimensionalness, and you deserve it after you are mevater on your physical sensation to give it back to him. So Imela, on everything else that you keep for yourself, you have in it the time of motza pi Hashem. So because...
Saying two things. One is the mida connected mida, and one is b'derech shalom reitzaleva.
Yeah, because you want that. Right? Oh, so Imela, even as the Bikurim is bottled, so we have to daven 3 times a day. The need of davening 3 times a day, the Kuzri says, parallel to the fact that you eat 3 times a day. So the Kuzri goes on this Poshup Shan the Kuzri, it's food for the soul, the tefillah. But it's more than that. The very fact that you're mispalo for your parnasa 3 times a day means that you're perpetually eating out of Hashem's hand. And by perpetually eating out of Hashem's hands, you're always taking the motza pi Hashem. Right? You put daven 3 times a day, parallel to the 3 times that you eat. That every time you're going to daven before you eat. You're going to ask for your tzrachim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and then take your tzrachim. So it's always God that's coming from Him. So that makes you aware and makes you in contact with the motza pi Hashem in it. So the wonderful experience it was, with Bikurim once a year, right? So to supplement, you have to daven 3 times a day, connected that you're mitparnes 3 times a day. That you always be eating out of Hashem's hand, and when you eat out of Hashem's hand, it never gets old, it never gets boring. It's molechius. It's multi-dimensional. That the physical calories is for the guf, but there's a spiritual side of it that's mamish for the nefesh, and for tchias hamesim. And that's why this is the opening sugya in the parsha. This is the eitzah that it should be hayom, hayom, hayom. So how it should stay hayom, besur meira is the tochacha. But how it should be hayom, and you should always have the time of hayom that's in the present and never gech old. It's molei chayim. You have an exposure to the spiritual dimensions, the motza pi Hashem. That's what Bikurim did for you. Right? And the absence of Bikurim, you have to mamish daven before every time you eat. 3 times a day. That should always be eating out of His hand. Eating with the conscience that it comes from Him. And then you're zocha to the motza pi Hashem in that parnasa. Alright, so we explain. 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 Alright, so we explain.